This is Witch-based news for Friday the 16th of May 2025. I'm Commander Burr. In Elite Dangerous news this week, a server-side patch frees up the trade in Titan drive components and more. FDEV announced the winners as the money-generating community mining goal finally comes to an end, and the sheer scale of ships and objects in Elite Dangerous is beautifully illustrated. If you enjoy our videos, consider subscribing to the channel and remember to ping the little bell to make sure you see all our content and community posts. And if you'd like to help support our channel, links to our Patreon and everything else are in the description below. Frontier deployed a server-side patch to the game this week to fix an irritating bug around the scoopable commodity Thargoid Titan drive components. If you're unfamiliar with them, Thargoid Titan drive components are, brace yourselves here, a component of Thargoid Titan drives that can be recovered from the remains of the 8 Thargoid Titan vessels that invaded human occupied space a couple of years ago, kicking off the Thargoid War. Since humankind helpfully turned the monstrous Marigold mega vessels inside out, their drive components have become much sought after, as they are a vital part of the recipe needed to unlock pre-engineered SCO capable frameshift drives from the galaxy's many human tech brokers. The problem with Titan drive components is that they're extremely rare. Whilst the 8 inside-out Titan vessels littering various portions of the bubble are perfectly safe to visit and quite the sight to behold if you've not been, by the way, the expected Titan drive components hardly ever seem to spawn amongst the myriad of other bits of organic technology flotsam and jetsam that is present there. The obvious solution to this, you might think, is to buy it from a suitably generous fleet carrier with a clearly very patient or lucky owner, and this is where the patch comes in. A bug had been introduced that meant the offending caustic goopy entrails no longer showed up as a tradable commodity in a fleet carrier marketplace, meaning that even if a carrier owner had access to the components, they couldn't list them on the market, and therefore, quite obviously, no one could buy them. The patch this week, I'm very pleased to report, now means that issue has been resolved and Thargoid offal is once again back on the menu, purely mechanically speaking, you understand. The spawn rate of the Titan drive components themselves is still very low. That's likely deliberate, we think, but if you're in the market to buy some Goid bits, then trawling Inara for carriers selling them is probably your best bet, and we've linked to the appropriate Inara page in the description below. And as we were pulling this video together today, Frontier have released another server-side patch to the game, so again no client update is needed, to fix a number of specific issues around fleet carrier commodity markets and cargo transfers, as well as failures in strong economic links in certain Trailblazers scenarios, as well as economies producing or consuming some commodities. The patch notes for those, whilst not extensive, are quite important if you're embroiled in that stuff, and you'll also find those linked below this video if you want to read them. By our completely unscientific reckoning, Frontier organises at least one serious credit generating community goal every year. That one community goal's required task may change from year to year. Sometimes it'll be hauling, sometimes it'll be mining, but there's generally one a year, we think, that really hoses its participants with proper credit greens outside of the regular funding you'll normally expect to get from CG participation on any given week. These last 2 weeks marked the return of that community goal agenda, and you may recall it was the mining of platinum from the asteroidal rings around gas giants that was the cow full of money for the community to bleed dry. As well as creating a few new galactic billionaires and likely adding a few new fleet carriers to the pool, the community goal was also handing out pre-engineered abrasion blasters to anyone that participated in the goal. If you did participate in the community goal and you can see past the vast quantities of cash that are likely lining the inside of your new pure gold fleet carrier, then you can collect your abrasion blaster from the community goal drop off point that you used to deliver your platinum, or you can just have it delivered to you for a now likely meaningless fee via any station or fleet carrier module outfitting menu. If you were in the top 75% of the contributors to the winning Felicia Winters half of the goal, you'll receive 2 of the aforementioned abrasion blasters. And Frontier have this week gone the further mile and named publicly the top 3 contributors on each side of the CG, which you can see on screen now. Well done to everyone who participated, and in particular the top 3 from each half of the goal that FDEV shouted out, who have each mined and hauled a colossal amount of platinum. I always find this next article an interesting subject to look at, and in case you missed it first time around, or indeed if you're reasonably new to the game, this is likely going to be a fascinating one for you also, I think. There's a new addition to the end of this as well, so if you've already heard the first bit, stick around for the last bit. The ships and objects of Elite Dangerous are deceptively large when compared to a human, or indeed a banana. Whilst it's obvious to say that a large class vessel in Elite is huge, a small class vessel in Elite, say something like an Eagle or a Viper as 2 examples, are still very big indeed. Comparable in real world terms to something like the space shuttle, rather than the deceptive appearance that they give off, which is more in keeping with a fighter jet. When you start looking at medium class ships in a context beyond just sitting in a cockpit, then the size becomes even more apparent. The diminutive looking duo of ASP ships, for example, are comparable in length and breadth to something like a Boeing 747, and those are 2 of the smaller of the medium class vessels. When you look at ships like the federal variants of assault ship, gunship and dropship, they are much larger again. In fact, my go-to answer when the question why isn't the dropship used to drop troops for the surface conflict zones comes up, it's that quite honestly it alone dwarfs most Odyssey settlements. You'd struggle to park just one of these over an active war zone, let alone multiple FDEV dropships ferrying in and out as the match continues to cycle through its reinforcements. In that particular scenario, in terms of size, for airdropping for example 4 to 6 troops rather than landing and deploying vehicles or multiple tens of troops, it makes much more sense in fact to use the outfitted vultures that we see in use today. There are a number of sources around the Elite Dangerous community that have surfaced over the years demonstrating this point around elite ship sizes, but for me, by far the most elegant and demonstrative of the point thus far is the video Elite Ship Scale 2021 edition by the YouTube channel called Preferred Image. The video cycles through extracted 3D models of all the ships in the game, as well as some of the other objects such as commanders, SRVs and starports, and occasionally slides in a suitably sized comparative real world object to keep the viewer's perspective continually grounded as the objects get bigger and bigger and bigger. For obvious reasons, the video is only accurate up until December 2021 however, and as we've spoken about many times on this channel before, there are now a whole new raft of ships entering the game. Enter then the Redditor known as Unfair Incident 3898. They have created a similar presented collection of images of the 4 ships deployed into Elite Dangerous last year, with appropriately scaled humans and other recognisable real world objects to again keep your perspective suitably grounded. Whilst you can of course get out of your ship and even clamber around the top of it yourself now in the game, it's not really until you see something like a Python Mark II or a Type 8 sitting in direct comparison to something more relatable such as a bus, a park bench or a large airliner that you truly appreciate the gigantic scale the game continues to project through its many ships. And with the now legendary Colossal Panther Clipper Mark II now just around the corner, in galactic terms, the scale is about to go up once again to a whole new level. You'll find the 2021 ship scale video and the new ships comparison post on Reddit linked in the description below this video. Have you managed to bag yourself some Thargoid Titan drive components? Did you score yourself a shiny new fleet carrier off the back of the community goal? And are you now looking at the scale of ships in Elite Dangerous in a whole new light? Let us know in the comments below. That's it for now. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be back later this week with more videos. Until then, 07 Commanders, follow the greens on the way out and do keep clear of the toast rack. We very much look forward to seeing you next time.